Now let's get to Crash Bandicoot 3. I know for a lot of people, Crash Bandicoot 3 is probably their favourite Crash game in the original trilogy. I know for some it's either Crash 2 or Crash Team Racing, and of course for me it's Crash Team Racing. But for Crash 3 itself, unfortunately, I don't think it's as good as Crash 2. I mean, granted, it is better than the first Crash game, no doubt about that, but in my opinion, I don't think this is a really good follow-up to Crash 2. But that doesn't mean I think the game is bad. Undoubtedly, it's a great game, but just not as good as the second Crash game. Well, here, let's take a look. After Cortex's vortex gets destroyed, the pieces fall down and crash into an underground prison, where Akiraku's evil brother, Uka Uka, is held captive.
Free at last.
Turns out all this time that Uka Uka was actually Cortex's master, and of course, being the master, he's pissed off at Cortex for losing all the gems and crystals. Eventually the two team up with an evil villain known as End Trophy, and they hack into this warp room where they can travel back in time and try to find all the crystals and gems. Of course, Crash and Co are up to the chase to find Cortex and Uka Uka and stop them from taking over the world once again. The one thing that really changed in this game was the level design. I mean, instead of the usual levels that you traveled through in Crash 1 and 2, it's actually a lot different in this game. I mean, sometimes you travel in the medieval stages, sometimes you're in Agrabah, sometimes you're in the future, sometimes you're in the dinosaur times. It's pretty good. The same controls from Crash 2 are ported over to Crash 3, but this time, they're much better than before. An example of that would be the power-ups. Oh my god, I adore these power-ups. They are so much fun to use. You have a super body slam, which is kind of not effective. You have a double jump, you have a tornado spin, you have a bazooka. Holy crap, a bazooka, how cool is that? And I love how each of these power-ups actually you'll need to use if you're going to progress through every secret area and try to finish the level. And I love how each power-up has to encourage you to use them so you can complete each secret area, find hidden boxes, and just complete the level normally as it is. Once again, Crash has to find 25 crystals as well as 42 gems. This time, the gem collecting is not as tedious as Crash 2 because thankfully there's no more backtraveling, which I think is so thankful for the fact. Of course, some of the death routes return in this game as well, but we also get a new mechanic known as relics. If you complete a time trial by replaying the stage again, you'll get a relic. If you collect at least 5 relics, they'll take you to a secret warp room. These can take you to either another part of the level that you may have missed, or a completely new level which allows you to get all the boxes to get the gem. Once again though, I don't think it's worth getting all of the gems, because once again it just gives you a bonus ending, and to be honest, it's just not that interesting. But speaking of that flaw, let's get to my flaws with the game. I mean, my big flaws with the game. First, let's talk about the vehicle levels. God, I freaking hate these vehicle levels. There's one where you have to swim underwater and it's just a little bit slippery. There's one where you ride on a speedboat, and I'm sorry, but it's so slippery and it's just not that fun because there's too many obstacles in your way. There's one where you ride a motorcycle, and god, these controls for the motorcycle are so clunky. There's also one where you have to fly a plane, and I just don't like these vehicle stages. I love doing the normal Crash levels, but the vehicles definitely take a hit in panning this game for me. There's also some vehicle levels where you have to play as Coco, and unfortunately, I don't think she's any different than Crash. I mean, if you were playing as Crash, it'd probably be the exact same controls, and I'm sorry, I just don't think Coco holds up as a good playable character. But I will admit, her playing on the Tiger levels are actually pretty fun. But aside from these flaws, I actually think Crash Bandicoot Warped is a pretty damn good follow-up. Like I said before, I don't think it's as good as Crash 3, but it is definitely better than Crash 1. So to tally all that up, I'll give this game a 7.5 out of 10. It's a really good game. I love the power-ups, I love the new levels. The vehicle levels aren't that good, but I can tell you for sure, this game is a lot of fun checking out. So now, we're gonna take a break from Crash Bandicoot. I've had to review 3 Crash games, and I think I'm gonna take a break.